In this video, I'm going to hopefully give some information that will clarify some of last night's videos. So, I was describing some chemistry and how I would be interested in making new compounds, breaking down molecules and making new ones. But I have to spend all my time studying medicine. And by the way, I don't want to study medicine. No, I don't. I don't think the laws, the regulations, the oversight is ready for it, and I don't want to be responsible for hurting somebody because my boss told me to do something in a weird way. So I have no interest in becoming a doctor. I have more interest in making sure doctors can do their job properly. But as far as chemistry goes, I love it. I love it. I loved it from the age of 7. I mean, I always like mixing this stuff together, taking stuff apart. I mean, when I see a chemistry molecule and when they show you how to take apart a molecule and rebuild it step by step, heat it, add this chemical, reduce it, keep it at 257. Each step has a different thing. It's just like building a Lego set. Find this piece, find this process, and now you get this. Now you want to remove this piece and you want to add this piece. And I find it very, very fun to watch or even do. I don't get to do any more of the cooler stuff. Mostly like stovetop basic chemistry that everybody does. Like maybe, for instance, sometimes when I have grease, really hard grease, I'll do the reaction of baking soda, soap, and vinegar. I mean, come on, every 5-year-old knows that reaction, but stuff like that is very handy to know. There are several reactions you can use to clean that are perfectly safe. So anyways, when looking into this, it's not an option for me. I still have 10 years before I could probably even figure out what's wrong with myself. The doctors are trailing their feet. My father's running away from his responsibilities. Plus, half of the information only he would know, he's made no attempt to even try to get. I mean, like this doctor who said I had coordination issue and then I was being forced to do ballet and all these things for my coordination. I'd like to get those records. A doctor that says I have coordination issues, at the same time I'm reporting that I was just drugged, lost my vision, lost the ability to walk, move, talk, all that. And then when I wake up, my body's not the same. Then I'm brought to a doctor, and not too, like maybe a year or so, or a little bit in that ballpark, we got me going to ballet and all these things because I can't move my body properly. Well, that seems like a good doctor to find some records on. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Let me go back to drinking martinis, going out to eat, seeing my nephews and my grandkids and all that. Hey, let me go back to this. No, I don't care if your organs are failing. I don't remember it, so just go get lost. That's not the proper attitude when you make a mistake. I know that because I make plenty of mistakes. So I have to deal with that, and I am years. I mean, I've spent 8 years, and I'm not even at step 1, having a conversation about what somebody saw. I mean, we have that's probably step 1, is just getting the documents put together, kind of getting a clear picture, and then getting this kind of put down in a proper way with the doctors. But none of that's going to happen because I got people who literally fighting me on this. I mean, it's not like this wasn't clear in front of everybody either. This isn't like something I made up or came out of the blue either. It's unlike me just to do something like this and talk about something like this. I do not like talking about stuff like this. But there's so much just like clear evidence and clear right in front of you stuff that it's unbelievable that he's running and trying to play that like this is some fantasy or something. I mean, no, you watched her at 20% liver mats while yellow come home for 5 minutes and start drinking. You saw her pop pills in the closet. You saw her act totally nuts in the car with me. You saw her act nuts at home with me. The family saw her act nuts at home with me. On Christmas, she almost tried to jump and stand on me. I mean, the whole family had to get up and tell her to stop because we all were scared to see what the next step was. When somebody acts crazy for all these years and does all these hurtful things, when she passes away and somebody gives you time to mourn and then they come back to have a discussion about these serious issues, you then don't just say that this is some fantasy after you know it's real. I mean, and if you are in fantasy land and you are pretending like you didn't see all this stuff right in front of you, well, that's a big problem. Then you need to talk to your family, your sons who were there too, so that maybe they can wake you up from this and get the help they need. I mean, your sons and your daughters are your next generation. If they die before you and go through organ failure or have to suffer greatly on the way to heaven, that doesn't sound like you did your duty really well. And I'm not quite sure what God does about situations like this, but I can tell you what I saw. While I was in trouble and I was having some of my near-death experiences, I was able to see another person's point of view and see what I was doing to them. I got to be in their body, behind their eyes, feel their pain, cry their tears, and I got to see my own face. Well, it was weird because you only get to see your face in a mirror. This was actually like I was the other person getting to see their point of view. And there was stuff that I knew, like when they went home, and it's just random stuff that I couldn't have known what their home looked like. This was either a really vivid dream or my unconscious dying brain came up with something I could never come up with. So that's a clue if anybody wants it. I've had 3 near-death experiences. I've had a lot of drugs put in my body, and I'm big into like reaching God, meditating, and spiritual, religious type stuff. So that also helps with some of these spiritual visions and awakenings. But they're recent, these spiritual visions, and they're nothing like the near-death experiences. They're more like you just meditate and float away, and you reach a consciousness. With the near-death experiences, it's more like you're in a coma or a dream, and you don't know it's not real. You think that it's all real, and then all of a sudden you wake up, but you remember the other realness. So you remember the real vision, but you also now realize that you're back on Earth in your body. You ask at the hospital what happened. Oh, you died. We brought you back. Your body temperature was 72. Or you were unconscious. You had a seizure. Your heart rate went down. Or you had a severe head injury. You've been asleep for 3 days. Stuff like that. Those are the 3 that I've experienced, but there might be other people. So I don't know what heaven or what Nirvana or Buddha has, or Jesus or God has in plan for any of us. But I can tell you that we're all connected in some way, and there is a higher power for sure. I have met the higher power, and I've felt the connection. I've seen the signs in life, and each time I double down on God, He shows me a little more of Himself. What I didn't know was possible. I didn't know that the more you dedicate yourself to God, the more He shows Himself to you. So I found that to be very beautiful. And a relationship with God is the best thing you can find, even better than being a full member of a church. Keep in mind, churches like the Catholic Church commit some of the worst sins in history. Every religion has committed sins or twisted their books in a way to fit a purpose or an agenda. And that's the problem with organized religions, because the evil and the good is in man. So if we treat man like God, then there's the problem. No man can be treated like God. God is good, evil is bad. Man can be good, man can be bad. Hence, the Spanish Inquisition.